Hey guys, welcome to Interesting from Wild Rift. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Vayne top build. So this is a really strange build that I found that was being used by the top Vayne players, at least at a certain point in time. Because right now I don't believe it is this anymore. It's actually back to the traditional build, which is kind of more of what I was personally expecting. But it was this build like last week, and I was thinking like, how does this build work, right? So I did try it in the game. I'll talk a little bit more about that one in the gameplay itself. But basically, this kind of Vayne build like focuses on actually doing a little bit of burst damage on squishies, which is why you go for like Stormrazor and like Triforce early on. Now I kind of hate this build. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna talk more about that again in the gameplay, but I'm gonna explain to you guys how it works here. So first up, you have attack speed boots, of course, to proc your passive more quickly. Now, personally, I like the Gluttonous Greaves, but I can see why attack speed boots are really good on Vayne, because of course you can proc that passive real quick. Now we have Stormrazor. It gives you a little bit of attack speed. AD, of course, gives you that passive which slows people and allows you to catch up, as well as, of course, doing burst damage. Now, in my opinion, the burst damage is probably the main reason why you're getting this. Of course, the slow and speed up is really, really useful as well, because Vayne, of course, does do very well with movement speed. She wants to chase people down, so that could be part of the reason, but I think it's mainly for the burst. Then we have Triforce, which gives you all of the good stats. Attack speed, 30% attack speed on Triforce is really good. So that Triforce is a pretty decent Vayne item. You get the 30% attack speed. You get ability haste, which helps you, of course, with your abilities, of course. And then you have health to make you tanky, and a little bit of AD. Of course, you also very importantly have the Spellblade passive, which of course you can proc very easily when you spam your Qs and things like that. Very, very easy to proc Spellblade. Right, then of course we have to have Bork in the build because it's Vayne, right? Vayne always is meant to counter tank, so not just with the true damage but with Bork as well to do that, of course, percent health damage. And then we have Magnetic Blaster. So this is kind of like a pseudo crit build. So of course you have Stormrazor, and then you have Blaster. So Blaster gives you extra range, which is of course very helpful. It also gives you 35% attack speed, so just as good as any other like on-hit attack speed item. And yeah, it's just pretty solid attack speed item, gives you extra range. And lastly, you have Shield Bow, your third crit item, of course, mainly for that defensive shield. Now, of course, this is only 75% crit, not 100%, but you did have to squeeze in, like, some other items in there, so that is just going to be what it is. And then, of course, for the runes, Legal Tempo for the range and the attack speed, Brutal because you auto attack a lot, Giant Slayer because Vayne always is meant to counter tanks, more attack speed on Alacrity, and of course, we have Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities, and of course, Ghost and Flash all of the time on Vayne. Never want to go exhaust on Vayne, always go for Ghost because you really need it for that mobility. With all that said though, let's talk about the gameplay. Okay, so let's move on to talking about the Vayne gameplay itself. So the first thing I want to kind of discuss a little bit is how this build actually works. So after actually playing this build, I think you're meant to play this build against a little bit of a more squishy team and less tanky team. So to me, this build kind of is trash because I feel that Vayne should really only be picked into like a very, very tanky team. So in this case, we have a decently tanky team. We have Sion, who's a huge tank. We have Nunu, and we have Blitzcrank. But of course, Blitzcrank is not the tankiest in the world, and this Nunu actually ends up building AP. So this actually kind of works for us because this build, again, is not really meant to deal with a very, very tanky team. If you're dealing with like a very, very tanky team, just the normal on-hit build will just be way better because there's no point building an item like Stormrazor, for example, in that respect, right? So Stormrazor, of course, does give you that extra movement speed and slow down your target, which can, of course, work against tanks, but it's a lot more effective against squishies because you not only slow them down and speed yourself up, but you also deal a huge amount of burst damage to them because that damage is not very significant on a tank. So there is that. Of course, the Spellblade passive on Triforce is always handy regardless of who you're facing, but again, if you're against the tank, it's probably better to just go for something else like another on-hit item like be it Terminus, Bork, or whatnot. So I really feel that, again, you wouldn't really build that if you're against squishies. We're bullying this Blitzcrank very hard here, by the way. We procced our W on him like 3 times, but we do get rooted by the Xayah here. The pull comes in from Blitzcrank as well as the root from Morgana. Eventually, Morgana's Ignite does take down Blitzcrank, but I do end up dying to the Xayah. So 1-for-1 trade, but Xayah does get the kill, whereas Morgana got the kill on my team, so negative trade for us overall. So again, going for like, back to the build by the way, going for the other crit items like Blaster and like Shield Bow is fine. Like you could go for that on Vayne normally, but I think Blaster is like there are superior like on hit items. I think just going for Wit's End or like Terminus is just better than going for Blaster. So I don't really like going for Blaster. So overall, I'm just not a very big fan of this build. Also, building Bork like third item is like so late considering that Vayne is normally meant to counter tanks. Like you really want that like first item or like second item latest. You don't want that as a third item. That's way too late. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the build, but let's see how, it works, right? Because even though I don't like a build, doesn't mean that it's bad, right? It's just I maybe don't think it's that good, but it could still be good. So let's take a look at how it works. So now we're in lane. Of course, we just came off of our death. And we are, of course, going to be a little bit behind Xayah because we did, there is that kill goal differential between the two of us. Now in comes Nunu with the snowball with the ghost as well. I try to flash away and Morgana is able to actually kind of save me with the shield. I live on like 1 HP. I have to quickly grab the fruit before I die to ignite, and kill does heal me a little bit. However, Kayn does come in and finish me off with the ulti, which I cannot escape because even though I rolled out of the way, Kayn ult and there's nothing you can do against that. So unfortunately, I already copped 2 deaths very early on in the game without getting any kills so far. So not the best start to the game. But thankfully, Vayne is an amazing scaler, so should hopefully work out. So here the fight continues. Kayle flashes in, picks up the kill on the Kayn, but finds herself completely in the enemy backline. Obviously, she's going to die, which I'm sure she knew when she flashed forward. But yeah. So here, unfortunately, Blitzcrank hooks the Morgana over the wall and gets bursted down by the Xayah. So yeah, not the best. So here I'm personally gonna go back to farming minions because there's not a lot I can really do here. Xayah of course is getting really fed. She's 3-0-1 at the moment. Thankfully as of now she has not yet gotten a reset, so she only has her attack speed boots. I'm trying to take advantage of this and get something done. Blitzcrank tries to go in for a hook, gets completely outplayed by me, and I dodge the Xayah pull as well. Just look at that, man. We used our Q not just to dodge Blitzcrank hook, but also to reposition and condemn him into the wall and then get rid of him, send him back to base. And the bad news is that now Xayah is actually finally gonna get a reset, so we are gonna be facing a huge Xayah power spike at this point. So yeah, but she does kind of troll it a little bit. She goes for, she just sold her items. I saw her go for, she goes for Caulfield's Warhammer and like a cloak, which does tell me she's gonna build towards most likely either she's going for Navori first item, or she's going for Essence Reaver, both of which are not very good. Like Navori first item is not amazing, although it will become good later on when you get like 2-3 items. And Essence Reaver is kind of a not good item on Xayah just because on Xayah you do want to proc your Navori, not your Navori. You do want to proc your Essence Reaver on your E, but it's really difficult to do that because you will obviously end up proccing it on your Q or your ulti, unless you wait 3 seconds for it to kind of recharge and then you pull back. Otherwise, you are gonna proc it on an ability you don't want, so it's really hard to execute. Just really not very good. So here Xayah has actually left the lane unattended, so I'm trying to push a little bit. I get 1 plate, but I see Nunu on the roam to bot, so I have to back off immediately. If not, we're going to get engaged on by Nunu again, and that's not going to be very fun. So enemy team is probably doing the dragon, and yeah, they were doing the dragon, but obviously I can't actually contest that, so in the meantime I'm just using this downtime to kind of just farm the enemy jungle. The enemy bot lane is now back in lane, so I'm going to leave the last Krug, and I'm going to head back over to the wave, which the enemy team is helpfully pushing in so that I can farm a little bit easier. Morgana gets kind of pulled in here, and it's becoming like a full-on fight. So here I'm dodging the Xayah feathers, I'm focusing the Blitzcrank, and now I'm trying to switch focus to Xayah, but Blitzcrank goes on me, so I'm going to have to finish Blitzcrank first, and eventually we do get the kill onto the Blitzcrank. So here we clear the wave and then we reset. So finally our first kill of the game has been obtained. And this gives us enough gold to complete our Stormrazor, which of course is going to be our first major power spike. And as I suspected, Xayah has a Essence Reaver as her first item, which again, as I mentioned, is really not a very good first item on Xayah. Like I wouldn't want that on my build. But hey, that's great for us, right? Because if the enemy team builds suboptimally, it's only gonna help us. So here we're now back in the lane, clearing out the waves. We can see that everybody else other than Blitzcrank is at top. Blitzcrank is actually at top now as well, so it's just Xayah here by herself. Morgana is now roaming up to top, leaving only me and Xayah here in like a 1v1. So here, honestly, I believe that I could probably win a 1v1 against Xayah, considering she has Essence Reaver as her first item, but I don't really want to take the risk because I'm not the most familiar with this Storm Razor builds. I'm not sure how much damage I can actually put out, so I don't really like want to tumble in and pick a fight. But you know, if I was more confident, I could have done that. Here the plates are still going to be up for like another 15 seconds, so we want to like see what we can get you know, before the plates fall. Xayah has actually gone mid, so we're actually just whacking this tower and we're getting all of the plates. Sion gets first tower, but in the meanwhile, right before plates fall, we basically get all of the plates. Blitzcrank is now back, hooks in Morgana, but doesn't really matter all that much, and we actually get the tower before the plates fall, so we actually get all of the plate value from the tower. So I wouldn't say it's a huge mistake by Xayah, because she did get goal in mid as well, and she still has a decent goal lead over me. Like, the goal lead is kind of the same, so overall it's kind of even in terms of the ADCs, but I wouldn't really leave the enemy ADC just there to farm my tower plates while I roam mid, you know. It's not a very good thing, right? So now, they are now trying to push in, so we're gonna quickly run over and try to stop them from getting our tower. No plates left, but we definitely don't want to give it to them for free. Here Xayah gets caught. I'm gonna try to go. I tried to go behind her, but it didn't quite work out. But eventually, I was able to kill her, and I actually survived. And I actually picked up the double kill on the Blitzcrank at like 1 HP. So that was pretty whack, pretty insane. And you know, we finally have something going our way. We get Xayah shut down as well. Like, we tried to go behind the Xayah, but we got CC'd by the Blitzcrank, so we were unsuccessful in doing that, right? So eventually, we did get hit by the Xayah route. Either which way, we were able to actually kill the Xayah, so I guess, you know, that's fine. It all worked out in the end. So here, fight breaks out in the top lane, but I'm interested in pushing the mid lane. You know, if no one attends to me here, I can get a mid lane tower, which is very valuable. However, Blitzcrank does end up coming over, knocking me out. I'm gonna just roll out the way the hook. And here, Snowball comes in. I'm gonna flash the wall so that the Snowball hits the wall and can't hit me. And now here where we got the enemy team relatively overextended, we start a fight and we are able to get the kill onto the, or rather Morgana gets the kill onto the Blitzcrank. Now here Galio gets the taunt in onto Nunu. I'm trying to focus him, and I realize now that I'm way too deep in. I'm tanking the tower, so I basically make the decision to roll forward and trade 1-for-1 with the Xayah, which is more or less the best I can do, because I was probably going to die regardless of what I did, considering there are 4 enemies in the tower. So the 1-for-1 trade is the best outcome I can get for myself, which is what I managed to do. And with that, I actually catch up in terms of gold with the Xayah. Like, we have basically the same amount of gold now, and the fight continues in the mid lane. Nasus gets hooked into the tower. Is really tanky though, and is trying his best to 1v3 at this point. Is actually doing so rather successfully, which is kind of surprising to me. But he only has a Heartsteel and a Dream, but the Heartsteel is, you know, stacking up real quick with three people attacking him in close proximity. Now I'm back from the grave, and I'm here to help my team out with this dragon. We can see Blitzcrank on a very really weird flank, but we are gonna go in on the rest of the team. So here I pop the Ghost, I pop the ult. Kayn is getting focused down, gets one shot by Nasus. I'm trying to focus down whoever I can hit. Xayah gets caught. I'm gonna ward over the wall, get vision, and the Storm Razor proc there actually helped me kill the Xayah. Now, if I didn't have Storm Razor, I actually wouldn't kill her. So you can see how Storm Razor can actually come in handy with that burst damage. But again, I still think the on-hit build is, like, you know, superior, you know, for the most part. But we do in this case, you know, get the kill onto her. So here I wanted to steal the enemy blue buff. But unfortunately, as I'm, you know, in the process of doing so, I get spotted by the enemy team with the square as blue. Man, I'm not going to stick around to give them a free kill, right? Because I'm really low now, and if I overcommit there, Kayn can just run through all the walls, one-shot me, and call it a day. So I'm not going to participate in that. I'm just going to recall and go back to base, picking up my recurve bow to eventually build into my Blade of the Rune King.
Shut down.
So here I'm helping out Kayn a little bit with the red buff, because she does so little damage to the red buff. She hasn't really skilled yet, but I'm just helping her do a little bit of damage to it so we can get it faster. Now I'm trying to see what I can really do. I'm not trying to steal her from. I didn't auto attack or anything, but I'm trying to see where I should go. So then we go mid to kind of cover since Gather is backing, but we end up having to fight kill for Farm, who just drops by the mid lane instead of just going over to the blue side jungle. 4 people of the enemy team are on this side of the map, so I'm thinking we can go over and collapse. Sion and Blitzcrank are here, as well as Nunu. I pop the ulti and I'm just trying to focus down someone so I can get a reset. Sion goes down, I get the reset. I'm in pretty deep, stepping out of the Nunu ult, and here I'm trying to kill Xayah. Flash the wall to kill Xayah, then I'm going on to Blitzcrank. Pretty much just lifestealing off him a little bit at this point. Kayn eventually does get the kill onto me, but he is going to die for it, and it's a clean ace on the enemy team, and my team is going to be able to pick up the Baron off of that. Only I died on my team, so it's pretty good trade all in all. So here we do indeed secure with the Baron. And you can see Nunu is just going full AP in this game. He has the Soul Stealer, and he also has the Death Cap, so pretty scary guy. Yeah, no one is really taking the TX at the moment. Morgana, I guess, has to take it. And yeah, again, really important to get into TX as quickly as you can, because you do want to buff all of the waves with the Baron buff, you know, when you go into the TX. So huge wave is accruing in bot, unfortunately, which is not very good because we are in mid trying to push with our TX, but we are likely to lose like a tier 2 tower, I think, to the enemy minions, which is not very good. Nunu is actually going bot, and here Xayah and Blitzcrank are behind us, so we're just gonna focus them down and try to get some relatively free kills. Nunu is still pushing the tower. I'm chasing down the Xayah. We get a kill on her, and I'm gonna recall to put a stop to this Nunu pushing. My team is continuing to push with the TX, and yeah, here I'm gonna stop the Nunu. I'm sure Nunu doesn't really want to fight me, so he just runs away. I have 3 full items now, so I'm really strong. At 11 plus K gold. Only person with more gold than me is the Kayn, and I'm definitely scared of him. He has 3 full items as well. He can easily one-shot me, so I don't really want to run into him if possible. Now my team is like pushing all the way into the inhibitor. And I'm just clearing waves. Sion tries to walk past me, but I'm able to actually get 3 auto attacks and just one-shot him. I'm not sure where he came from. Maybe he was trying to escape from the fight just now and just ulted down or something like that. I'm really not sure because I wasn't really paying attention. But we get a kill on the Sion who's driving by, which is something I never really expected to ever say. The TX actually takes the Hex Gate, which is pretty funny that the TX can do that. But here I reset so that I can swap out my boots to armor boots and get myself a QSS as well. Of course, swapping boots is always gonna be an amazing thing. And here we have enough attack speed from our items already that we don't need the attack speed boots anymore. So we can, of course, get the defensive boots instead. So here the enemy team is doing the dragon. I'm trying to get myself in there to kind of kill them. Kayle does get the steal on the dragon. And here I'm just trying to focus down whoever I can. Xayah is going to be my target. I'm going to get rid of her. And Nunu is going to be the target of my team. And my team is going to run him down. He goes down. And only Sion is left alive. So here at this point, there's not much for us to actually do except to, of course, push in waves. I'm thinking of getting the top wave and getting the enemy jungle. So of course, in the mid to late game, whenever you get a significant number of kills on the enemy team, you always want to go into the jungle and steal their camps to deny them the farm and get yourself more farm as well. While I'm at it, I'm just going to push in this top wave and get the farm from that as well. Create some pressure for the enemy team to come over and clear the lane. And then I'm now going to get the Krugs as well. However, as I am getting the Krugs, I'm just... Actually, no, this is not the game for that. I was thinking of a different game, but I do end up securing the Krugs, and then I'm going to actually back. So now, again, we're now building towards Magnetic Blaster, which is going to be our second crit item, and also giving us the extra range, which I guess comboed with Stormrazor passive, it does, of course, work on multiple enemies at the same time, but again, I think on hit is generally a better build to go for. Now, there's 4 people on the enemy team on the opposite side of the map. So this is a golden opportunity to do Baron. And with Vayne and another ADC Kayle. Kayle has like 3 full items and is level 13. So she has scaled up already. So now we can just secure the Baron and you know, hightail it out of there. Enemy team is on the way. And yeah, we don't want to mess with them. We just want to get out with the Baron. Here, Blitzcrank hits the hook onto Morgana, so unfortunately we are kind of forced to fight a little bit. We do get the kill on Blitzcrank, and Scion is now coming in. Unfortunately, I dash into his knockup, which is not exactly what I intended to do. But here, yeah, we try to chase down Kane or whoever else, but he just runs through the wall. And yeah, so now Morgana gets caught a little bit by Nunu, and Kane ults me, but he should be able to go down. I flash forward to finish the kill onto him. And the situation is looking pretty good for us. I'm going to quickly recall since the TX is only now just coming out of base, so I am able to pick up an additional item. Kill, however, is in a little bit of trouble. Is able to flash out, and Nessa's TP comes in to help her out. And off this push, we should be able to end the game because we do have, of course, all of the Baron minions, and we also have the Baron buff. So we should be able to end right here, most likely. Pushing in the mid wave as well. Now here I'm going to 1v1 the Xayah. I'm tumbling out of the way of her feather pullback so I don't get caught there. And here, speaking of getting caught, I'm hitting the Nunu, I'm hitting the Scion, hitting whoever is in my range basically. And yeah, we're going to kill the Nunu before we end the game, and kill the Scion body as well. And there we have it, there is the end of the game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.